All right, so we are short NASDAQ here. Basically what I'm hoping to display is, a potential long idea for NASDAQ. I'm currently short right now, looking for the regular trading hours, yesterday's low. That also is within a 15-minute discount fair value gap. Within, I guess you can call this a breaker. My stop is right above this bearish fair value gap, which was played with a whole bunch, but within there we created SMT with ES from here and here. So you'll see I was actually long this move down here. Looking for the high. Here, just show it. Reading, executions. So tried the long here. Took a couple off just as a little scalp. Retried the long in here, buying this as a breaker. Added another one in the fair value gap. Stop was below here because we did have some very short-term SMT. So if you look here to here, so that was the buy. Ended up taking one off on a stop limit because the Dow had taken the 5-minute high that I was looking for, and we created this failure swing, and then got stopped, the final one right underneath this low, and then flipped the position, got short in the top half or the top quarter of this fair value gap. Sold 1 minute bullish fair value gap, looking for it to invert, and that's what I'm aiming for down here. So the long idea is to bring us, let me take off the executions real quick. The long idea is, looking for this high, this 15-minute fair value gap, possibly the 15-minute order block. But, nothing too heavy. We did leave all these highs alone this morning so we could get afternoon continuation. It is a Friday, however, so I'm not sure how much, and it's non-farm payroll Friday, so not sure how much continuation. That's why a majority of my profit taking will be within this gap at this order block, possibly leave a runner for the high, maybe even this fair value gap. You can see, so the Dow had entered into it, that I'm not exactly a fan of, and that I'm just kind of noticing, when speaking about the long idea. But whoa, I almost dropped my computer. So yeah, so right now the short's working well. Did fine on the way up anyway, so there's not too much to worry about. Even if I take the loss in here, it's, the short, all the previous longs mitigate this loss already. I just don't come away with as much. So just take this stuff away. And continue to watch. So this yellow shaded area is a new day opening gap. It's pretty old, but you could see we still mess around with them, and I kind of use them as a confluence when they're that old, just to back up any sort of trade idea. So here ES is bouncing on the daily fair value gap CE. I wouldn't necessarily want to see SMT here at the lows with ES hanging around where it is. Let me show you the regular trade. Oh, changed the wrong one. So if we go to a 15-minute chart, or maybe we'll even go to a 5. This is what I'm aiming for. You can see there's some other stuff down here, but that's in the overnight session, pre-market session, marked up things. Let's highlight fair value gap. So that's the 15-minute. This could be an old 1 hour or 5 minute. Check it out. Yeah, old 1 hour. So ideally, I really wouldn't even want to see it come into here. I'd rather it use this paired with the 15-minute and not really go any further. But this gap and how we react along it is kind of my line in the sand for the long idea. So we have Dow starting to kind of make a bit of a push up. It's probably right at half of that wick there. Basically, just shy of it. And Q pushing. I'm pretty confident we'll run to the target here. So Dow sweeping these relative equals on the 1 minute. ES made equal lows. I like that NASDAQ didn't take a low. That nobody's taken the low yet. That's comforting. I think at this point I would move my stop, however, all the way. I mean, you could, so here's the thing, is like you could put it up here, but since my entry is so close, I'm just going to move it there. If I get stopped out, is what it is. But at this point, I really don't see that happening. If I wanted to be really careful, I could measure half of that, and that's basically where my stop is. So I would want it just above that and just above the midpoint here, like one tick. And that to me is, we do have these little equals right here, which is always terrifying when you have a trade on, right, that's so close to profit. So NASDAQ actually just took a low. ES did not. Dow's retracing into that 1 minute, but it did sweep these equal highs, so that's not terrifying. Just going to continue keeping an eye on it. So typically I'd be out of this trade right now. I would measure up. Where we're at, where I want to be. I'd be like, is 8 points worth it coming back and only making, not even a full point. So there it goes, slams the target. Let's ram the stop up. Should have had a limit there, but nails the bottom end of that 15-minute fair value gap. I'm actually going to close out of the trade now after seeing that. So like I said, I should have had a limit here, especially if I had long ideas to maximize my short profits. But since Dow did break into this, I guess I kind of discounted that. So now we're trading around. That's a perfect touch after taking that low. One second, gotta check my phone. Okay. So if I was super aggressive, I would just start taking the long right now. Divergence on the Dow. I do kind of want to wait. Let's tap into the higher time frames. So, do have the 15-minute volume imbalance to the downside. Like us to hold half of that wick, so it's another little confluence there. Let's just draw that out. ES is playing around in here. So ES being in this 15-minute fair value gap is actually SMT, as long as NASDAQ stays out of the same fair value gap. So there's another confluence for the long. I'm going to go way down into the 15-second chart here. You can see how we're playing off of that. I'm going to take off the buy or the sell side line from regular trading hours. Just know we've purged that now. Purged yesterday's regular trading hour lows. Three drives down on a 15-second. Tempted. How much time do we have left? Oh, we've already started that. The 5-minute. Okay, so we have this volume imbalance. We also have the 5-minute order block over there. Just gonna sit tight for now. Not a fan how there was a small time frame SMT here. I'd like ES to show some power. Yep, that's better. If rejected, might take one. I take one there. Gonna risk the low. Normally just put in a sell stop, but do a limit because I feel like it can get relatively ugly. I don't want to be slipped all that bad. So much better. ES took this high. That's a potential add spot for NQ. Let's see what the Dow's doing. Dow still hasn't taken this low. That's also a good sign. I'd love it to give me an entry right in here, but like one more stab. But at this point, maybe not. Just run, you know. The only reason I say that is because, you know, when we start trading, right, now I have less choices, right? Like I only have one decision that I can make with one contract. That's why I typically like trading micros in, you know, full size, like in mini sizes, so like 10 micros at a time. Because if I only got one off here, right, then I could scale out on a micro position level. You know, say if I want to take 5 up here, or 1 here, 3 up here, or more like a majority, more like 4 here. So now I have half left. Save a little for this high here. So far, so good. Just looking out for any sort of divergences. And yeah, so now we can let this one kind of play out. Also, the timing of all this happening is pretty good. I like how we're around 130. It would be super ideal if we disrespect this bearish volume imbalance and close above also this bearish fair value gap on a body basis. I mean, obviously the wick has already gone down and done its thing. So if you were just trading on the basis of the SMT alone, right, your stop for NASDAQ would be all the way down here at 18, and that's obviously a really wide stop. That's why I kind of like to, and like, you don't have to trade just off of that. It also, this is kind of what ICT preaches too. If you're going to enter in a fair value gap, you could always risk the low end. He will say you also have to be willing, if there's another one below or above, you have to be willing to let it trade into that. But knowing what I know, as far as SMT is concerned, at this point, I'm not willing to let it trade into that. And in fact, I don't even want to see it really, at least for the purpose of entry, like, I don't even want to see it break this low. That's why my stop is where it is. It's a pretty tight stop. It's about 8 points or so, 8.25. So that was an ad. I missed it again because I'm talking. That's okay. Just going to draw out the RR tool. So we're at 8.25 there. And, the ideal target's all the way up here, right? About 40 points. 40 or so. Maybe somewhere over there, because that's the 15-minute fair value gap. Or rejection block. What's that looking like? 39. And where's that in relation? Just above these highs. So far, a really good reaction, right? Good entry. And the funny part is, like, so I find that sometimes moving down to these smaller time frames, right, like, doesn't always, I mean, it helps in this case, right, for the risk. Like, you could see the 3 drives is super clear on the 15-second chart as opposed to like a 1 minute. Like, yeah, you could see it, but it's not as structured as, or it's not as in depth or in detail as the 15-second chart. So, but if I were trading just a 1 minute, right, what I would be looking for is, this is like what I talked to DC on Twitter about this, Dave, Candy Cabin, DC Candy Cabin, I think that's his Twitter handle or something. And this is like the first 1 minute order block. After this sort of explosive move paired with an SMT, I usually like this for like 9:30, right? 9:30 openings. Have to be careful also, by the way, because NQ's lagging on taking this high. I'll usually take an entry on the first 1 minute order block. I probably would have missed. Maybe it depends on how chasey of a mood I'm in. I would have, hold on, I'm just thinking real quick. Okay, I probably would have missed this because I usually like to take it right on the open, like on a body at least. But typically whenever I get filled anyway, it's never perfect because I'm rarely using limit orders. So that is what it is. Okay, Dow really showing some power up here. Killer. So this I like. I like to see that the Dow is trading higher because it already tagged into that 15-minute fair value gap. So that kind of gives me some confidence that NQ is, going to take these highs, and I don't have too much to worry about. If Dow is being, I would expect Dow to be a little bit weaker, but since it's showing its strength here, I'm kind of happy about that. You have these relative equals on the 1 right here. That's a pretty solid target at the end of this little trend line. NQ really is lagging though. ES taking off. So going back to the like regular trading hours, that's kind of a really good way to pair your electronic trading hours, fair value gaps, with regular trading hours, pulls of liquidity, and high and lows of days. So if I take that, like you guys already saw it, I already showed it, but that's perfect with this. It was basically within the midpoint, just above the midpoint of the 15-minute fair value gap there. So that's kind of a good drill on are you choosing the correct fair value gap? How do you know? Right now, Dow these are both daily. It's the same daily fair value gap, but one's with the set option on, and one is without the set option on, because I'm using the continuous contract. And actually, that doesn't make a difference. It's just that it's available on all daily charts. But I'm going to be cautious around here with the Dow. If we are to go lower, Dow's most likely going to use that as resistance to run away. So the Nasdaq's making a nice run here. Kind of got to be careful. I'd like us to reclaim this fair value gap. And obviously we're already in profit enough, to where this is a good trade. I could move my stop to break even a little bit better. You do risk getting stopped out. You can call it even premature, but since we've taken this short-term high, I would have definitely at least taken a partial by now, given the strength of the Dow and Nasdaq being a little slower. So pretty good. Really good push there. So Dow running into that daily fair value gap. Good push. Nice. So we've hit our target. Could take that away. And just a regular sell stop. And I'm going to jam it right there. So we've hit the 15-minute fair value gap. Move up that stop a little bit. If it pokes back up in there, I'm going to most likely take the trade off. Let me just draw a little line. We're in. Let's switch down to a 15. Look for anything sketchy that I don't love. And just really watch. There's 50 points. And wow, look at that go. Let's move back to the 15-minute chart. We're going to take it off there. So there you go. That's the long idea. That's how you could trade it both ways, short to long. I think we ended up would have liked to have had another contract on to leave a runner, because by judging the strength of that move, and Dow, being as strong as it was, even though it already tapped into that 15-minute fair value gap, I would be thinking that this is definitely in play. There's enough time in the day. We just have to move like this pretty much the whole way through. Yeah. Let me just see what I think it was around 50-ish. I'll turn on the executions real quick. But yeah, I would have, all in all, I would have liked to have had a little runner on there. Could have helped to capture more. So long at 438.25, out at 91 flat. So we can move that to right there. So 52.75, because I know I'm 1 quarter down. It's a pretty good trade. That's going to be it for this video. Yeah, that's how I think about trading. That's how you think about trading. And thanks for watching. Oh, so you'll see I've who knows, man, it could be the good old ICT colors. Last thing, actually, this is something new I'm trying. This is the something new template. This is what I usually trade on, or what I've traded on forever. And so we're just kind of like, maybe it's time. Who knows? I was talking to AM Trades on on Twitter one time about, a SMT concept, and he was asking me, so when are you going to switch colors? And I don't know, but maybe this is the year. We'll see. I got it in the template, so just giving it a shot. All right, later.